Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to cut through the noise, break down complex stuff, and pull out the key insights for you. Today, well, we're tackling a real icon, Sherlock Holmes. We're going beyond just the mystery to really get into how he solves them. What's the secret behind those deductions that feel almost like, well, magic? We're diving into a really famous bit from Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Hound of the Baskervilles. It's a moment that just perfectly shows Holmes doing what he does best.
Exactly. And our mission really is to unpack how Holmes used that brilliant mind. We want to see his methods, particularly observation and deduction, up close. How does he take something tiny, something seemingly insignificant, and turn it into this deep understanding? That's what we're exploring.
Okay, so let's set the scene. Picture this. Holmes and Watson, they're having breakfast, and Holmes, he's picked up this walking stick. It was left behind by a visitor, a Dr. James Mortimer. So here's a thought for you listening. Put yourself in Holmes's shoes for a second. You see this walking stick. What clues jump out? What might you figure out just from looking at it? Let's get a description first through Watson's eyes. It's described as a fine, thick piece of wood. Got a round, bulging head, and there's a broad silver band on it, about an inch wide. And etched onto that band, to James Mortimer, MRCS, from his friends of the CCH, and there's a date, 1884.
Right. And MRCS, that tells us he's a member of the Royal College of Surgeons, so a medical guy. But what's fascinating right off the bat is Holmes. His back is turned to Watson, but he knows exactly what Watson's doing.
Yeah, how does he do that?
He actually jokes about it. Says his well-polished, silver-plated coffee pot is reflecting Watson. It's almost, well, it's showing off a little bit. But it immediately establishes his baseline, his incredible power of observation. He misses nothing, not even a reflection in a coffee pot.
So naturally, Watson thinks, okay, my turn. He decides to try applying Holmes's methods himself. His first idea, Dr. Mortimer must be a successful, elderly medical man, well-esteemed.
And the logic there.
Because the stick was a gift. A token of appreciation from friends suggests he's respected, established. Then Watson notices the stick itself. It's knocked about. The metal tip, the ferrule, is worn down.
Okay.
So deduction number 2. He's probably a country practitioner, does a lot of visiting on foot, hence the wear and tear.
Makes sense. Seems logical so far.
And finally, those initials. CCH Watson takes a stab at that. He guesses it's some kind of local hunt.
A hunt? Why a hunt?
Well, he figures maybe Mortimer gave the hunt members some surgical help and they gave him the stick as a thank you.
A bit speculative, perhaps?
Seems that way. Now, Holmes's reaction is interesting. He's full of praise. Good. Excellent. Even, really, Watson, you excel yourself.
Which is quite unusual for Holmes, isn't it? He's not usually throwing bouquets like that.
Exactly. It sort of sets you up. You think, wow, Watson nailed it.
But then comes the reversal. Holmes calls it his reverse judgment. He picks up the stick, gets out his magnifying glass, his convex lens, gives it a proper look, and then he tells Watson that, well, actually, most of his conclusions were erroneous, at least partly.
Ah, okay. The other shoe drops.
Right. He does concede the country practitioner bit. And the walking, Watson got that part right?
Yeah.
But then Holmes starts digging deeper. It's that shift, isn't it? From just looking to really seeing and connecting.
So where does Watson go wrong first?
The CCH Holmes immediately challenges the hunt idea. He argues, look, a formal presentation like this, it's more likely to come from a hospital than from a hunt. It feels more institutional.
Okay.
And he says, if you think hospital and you have the initial CC, well, Charing Cross Hospital just very naturally suggests itself. It fits.
Yeah.
Principle 1. Always consider the institutional context for formal gifts or inscriptions.
Right. Charing Cross Hospital makes more sense than Country C Hunt or something.
Precisely. Then he goes further. Why was the gift given? When would a group of friends give a doctor a commemorative stick?
Like a leaving present.
Exactly. Holmes deduces, isn't it most probable at the moment when Dr. Mortimer withdrew from the service of the hospital in order to start in practice for himself? It's logical. People give gifts when someone moves on. That's the second principle. Figure out the reason, the motivation behind it.
Okay, so he left Charing Cross Hospital in 1884 to start his own practice. What next?
This is where it gets really clever. Holmes thinks about Mortimer's status at the hospital. If he was senior, well-established, would he just drift into the country? Holmes thinks not.
Ah, so he must have been junior staff.
Correct. Probably a house surgeon or a house physician.
Yeah.
Basically, a little more than a student, just starting out.
And the date on the stick is 1884.
Right. Holmes implies the current year is 1889, meaning Mortimer left the hospital 5 years ago. So if he was junior then.
He must still be young now.
Spot on. Holmes concludes he's a young fellow under 30.
Wow, okay, deducing age from a hospital departure 5 years ago. That's
Yeah.
impressive. But then he goes even further, deducing personality traits. He says Mortimer is friendly, unambitious, and absent-minded. Just from the stick? How on earth? Is he just guessing now? Or is there logic even here?
It seems like a leap, doesn't it? But Holmes has his reasons, grounded in what he calls his experience of human behavior. That's maybe principle 3. Use patterns of human nature.
Okay, explain. How does he get friendly?
He says basically, only friendly people get testimonials. People don't club together to give gifts to someone they don't like. It's a sign of good relationships.
Yeah, enough. What about unambitious?
That links back to leaving London. Holmes figures only someone unambitious would abandon a promising London hospital career to become a country doctor.
Okay, I can see the logic trail there. And absent-minded.
That one's simple, maybe the most direct. Why did Holmes get the stick in the first place?
Because Dr. Mortimer left it behind.
Exactly. After waiting an hour in Holmes' rooms, Holmes says only an absent-minded person leaves their walking stick, not their visiting card. It's a small slip-up, but telling.
Okay, I'm following. It's like connecting behavioral dots to the physical evidence.
Precisely.
But then comes the real kicker. And the dog. Where did that come from?
Ah, yes, the dog. This is pure close observation. Principle 4. Sweat the small stuff, the tiny physical details. Holmes points out marks of his teeth are very plainly visible on the wood.
Teeth marks, okay.
Meaning a dog must have carried the stick, often. Then he looks at the size and shape of the marks. He judges the jaw size. Too broad for a terrier, he says, and not broad enough for a mastiff.
So he narrows it down.
To a curly-haired spaniel. Incredible precision from just teeth marks on wood.
Watson must have been floored.
Oh, completely. The text shows Watson just trying to process it all, while Holmes is pacing, totally calm, totally certain. It really highlights the gap between ordinary observation and Holmes's deep analysis.
So does Holmes get proven right? Is there a check?
Oh, yes. And it comes immediately. Watson, still reeling a bit, grabs the medical directory like a professional registry.
And looks up Mortimer.
Yes. Reads the entry aloud. Mortimer, James, MRCS, 1882. House surgeon from 1882 to 1884 at Charing Cross Hospital.
Bingo. Charing Cross confirmed. The dates match.
Everything. It lists his prize, his current role as medical officer for parishes out in Dartmoor, Devon. Confirms the country practice, the hospital, the timeline. Every single major point Holmes deduced.
Amazing. The method works.
It does.
Yeah.
But there's one final test, one perfect little confirmation.
Which is?
Holmes just walks over to the window, looks out, and says essentially, "How did I know about the dog?" Simple.
Let me guess.
I see the dog himself on our very doorstep, and there is the ring of its owner.
Wow. Perfect timing. And presumably a curly-haired spaniel.
We assume so. The ultimate validation, right there on the doorstep. And this whole sequence, this deep dive into the stick, it really shows something important, doesn't it?
Right.
That having a clear mind, a really observant eye, and thinking things through logically, it helps you avoid jumping to the wrong conclusions.
It's about not just looking, but actually seeing, and then thinking about what you see.
Taking that time to interpret, yeah.
And the man who gave us this amazing character, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, he wasn't just a writer. He was a physician himself.
That's right, a British doctor and writer. He basically invented this kind of detailed crime fiction with Holmes. A truly prolific guy who wrote tons of stuff beyond Sherlock Holmes, too.
So thinking about Holmes's approach, prioritizing context, inferring motivation, understanding people, sweating the details. How can you, listening now, use this? Maybe at work, or in your studies, or just trying to make sense of something complex in the world around you. There are always clues, aren't there? If you just look closer. Apply that Sherlockian gaze.
Absolutely. And I think this deep dive really highlights that just knowing stuff isn't enough. Knowledge is powerful when you understand it, when you can apply it. And like with Watson's initial ideas, they weren't totally useless. They were a starting point. Having multiple perspectives, even if one is more surface level, helps build that richer understanding. Holmes refined Watson's thoughts. He didn't just dismiss them entirely at first.
It's just incredible, really, starting with a walking stick and ending up with a detailed profile of a young, friendly, absent-minded country doctor with a curly-haired spaniel.
It really is. So maybe the final thought to leave you with is this. What seemingly insignificant details are around you right now? In your environment, your work, your interactions? What might they reveal if you look a little closer with a bit more of that focused analytical eye? And what assumptions are you holding on to that maybe, just maybe, the evidence doesn't fully support if you really examine it? Something to ponder.